To the Romans, the Huns were a nightmare given flesh, dark riders from the endless steppe, moving like smoke, unpredictable as a storm, striking without warning, vanishing before an army could form. Their speed, skill, and ferocity in battle became the stuff of fearful rumor, painting them as almost inhuman destroyers. Yet behind the thunder of hooves and the smoke of burning cities lay a very different reality. The Huns were not monsters but people, herdsmen, hunters, traders, bound together by kinship, tradition, and the rhythms of the open grasslands. Their lives were shaped as much by tending horses and sharing meals as by raiding and war. In this video, we step away from the clash of empires to follow a single day in the life of Mundzuk, a 23-year-old Hun warrior. Through his eyes, we shall glimpse the world of the steppe, its harsh beauty, its demands and its quiet moments, far from the walls and whispers of Rome. Let us begin. The sun has not yet broken the horizon when Mundzuk wakes. The air inside the yurt is still and cool, smelling faintly of wood smoke and wool. Above him, the domed ceiling is lined with felt, its edges stitched in careful patterns that his mother's sister worked into it years ago. Outside, the grasslands stretch in every direction, a vast, pale green ocean rolling under the first thin line of dawn. Mundzuk is 23 years old, a Hun living in the 5th century of the Common Era on what will one day be known as the Great Hungarian Plain. That was not the name by which he called his vast homeland, and he almost certainly did not call himself Hun. That was a name given by those strange, soft, sedentary folk, the Greeks, living in their permanent abodes of stone far to the west. That word Hun does not even describe Mundzuk's people specifically, instead referring generically to the tribes of nomadic horsemen who share Mundzuk's way of life. He pulls on a tunic of rough woven wool, stiffened at the elbows with leather patches, and steps into the early chill. His breath drifts in the air like ghost smoke. The herd waits. Horses, their coats dark with dew, stand close together for warmth, their ears flicking at the faint hum of waking insects. Mundzuk moves among them, touching each flank in turn, checking for signs of strain. The gray mare, his favorite, lowers her head toward him, exhaling a warm, grassy breath into his hands. She is small by Roman standards, but strong, with the endurance to run all day. Her foals, when they come, will be part of his bride price. To lose her would be more than bad luck. It would be a step back from the life he's working toward. By the time the first gold of the sun spills over the horizon, smoke is curling from the low, round yurts of the camp. Breakfast waits, mutton broth heavy with fat, a lump of millet bread, and a skin of cool, tart kumis. In a Hun camp, meals are not quiet, solitary affairs. Kin eat together, voices mingling as freely as the food in the shared bowls. This is no world of small, closed households. The Hun family stretches wide, grandparents, cousins, siblings by blood and by adoption, all sharing in the work of keeping the camp alive. Privacy is rare, but loneliness almost unheard of. Children are passed from arm to arm, and any elder can correct them as if they were their own. To grow up here is to know your place not as an isolated self, but as a strand in a net of kinship, one that can catch you if you fall, or tighten if you stray. After eating, the young men gather for archery. Mundzuk mounts his mare, feeling the easy give of muscle beneath her hide. The bow he carries is small but powerful, a composite of wood, horn, and sinew. At a gallop, he draws and looses in a single smooth motion. The bowstring snaps with a low, musical twang. His first arrow bites into the center of a straw target, the second close beside it. 3 more follow before he reins in. This is more than sport. The Hun's strength lies not in walls or numbers, but in speed and skill from horseback. The rhythm of gallop, draw, and release is part of the pulse of his people, yet ambition rides with fear. Raiding brings honor, but also the risk of dying in a foreign land far from the steppe. What Mundzuk fears most is not death, but dying cut off from his people, his spirit unable to find its way back to the fires of his ancestors, left to wander, hungry and forgotten. By midday, the elders meet in a loose circle near the largest yurt. Men speak of moving the camp to greener pasture, of sending a party east to trade furs and horses for metal and salt. Others talk of the Danube frontier, rich and tempting, where Roman defenses are stretched thin. Decisions here are made with many voices, though always under the shadow of the greater chiefs who command in war. That afternoon, Mundzuk joins a hunting party. The steppe smells of sun-warmed grass and dust. The air hums faintly with insects. They ride in a wide crescent, bows ready. A gazelle bursts from the grass and the riders surge forward. Hooves drum the earth in perfect rhythm, arrows hissing through the air. The animal stumbles and falls before it can vanish into the distance. The chase is short, but every such hunt is a lesson. Balance, timing, the unbroken link between man and horse. These same instincts serve in war. As the sun drops, the camp is alive with sound and smell. Meat roasting over open fires, the tang of fermenting mare's milk, the sharp ring of iron tools. Children dart between yurts, shrieking in play. Elders sit near the fires telling the old stories. Tonight's tale is of a winter raid across the frozen river years ago, when the Romans woke to find their gates already open and their sentries silent. The lesson is as clear now as then. Speed and cunning are stronger than brute force, and loyalty to kin outweighs all else. There are no temples here, no priests in robes. The sacred is in the land and sky. Tengri, the eternal blue above, watches over all. The wind is his breath, the stars, his eyes. The dead do not vanish. They ride unseen beside the living, guiding or warning as they choose. Before sleeping, Mundzuk touches his bow, murmuring a quiet prayer. For strong horses, sharp arrows, and a good death among his own under the open sky. Later, as the camp quiets, he steps outside. The firelight behind him fades into the dark. The stars above are countless, sharp as spear points against the black. His mare grazes nearby, her coat silvered by moonlight. Beyond the horizon, Attila's warbands are riding. Mundzuk closes his eyes and imagines the thunder of hooves, the snap of bowstrings, the shout of victory over a broken enemy. But when the vision fades, he knows that tomorrow will be much like today, tending the herd, honing his skill, waiting for the call to ride. Life for a young Hun in the 5th century is a balance between the fixed rhythm of the camp and the sudden storm of war. Mundzuk walks that line, his heart bound to the traditions of his people, his eyes drawn toward the promise and peril of the world beyond the steppe. What do you think? Is this a realistic depiction of a day in the life of a young Hun around the time of Rome's decline? Did we miss anything important to the Hunnic lifestyle, some key part of the picture? Let us know in the comments below. This video is now in your past. We hope to see you here again in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.